Nike's iconic "Just Do It" is completely broken for most people. It completely omits two critical steps that come before action even happens: thought and belief. You have to follow the right order: thought, beliefs, and then action. I like to call them the Holy Trinity, my Holy Trinity. Even Nike themselves introduced a new slogan called "Why Do It?"
Why do it? Why would you make it harder on yourself?
See, they already understand that just doing it doesn't work for this generation anymore. For seamless, frictionless action of just doing it, you have to ask yourself, why were you even doing it in the first place? This is where thoughts and beliefs come in. We can't just ignore thoughts and beliefs the way just do it implies we should ignore them. Most people think about the life they want all the time, but they just don't believe it. That's why just doing it fails them. They are not using the Holy Trinity to its full potential. This is also why the law of attraction gurus leave their students rotting in bed and drowning in delusion, and why brute forcing action when your internal alignment is broken creates massive friction. If we strip the law of attraction down to its bare core, with pure psychology and zero pseudoscience, it's simply the process where your dominant focus sets your brain up to notice and act on opportunities that have always been there, so that it will be easy to just do it. That's why the law of attraction feels like magic when it works. When your thoughts, beliefs, and action are in total alignment, it always seems like you are attracting exactly what you want and desire. For the just do it advice to easily work for you, here's the exact framework you need to master to bring the Trinity into total alignment. Thought leads into belief, belief leads into action. So let's start with thoughts. Thought is the raw data you feed into your subconscious. Before action can become effortless, a thought must first break down your internal resistance and establish a bulletproof reason for why you want to do something. In this natural framework, thoughts create belief. Belief is simply a thought that has been repeated so frequently that the brain accepts it as objective truth. Every conscious thought you entertain acts as a single vote for a specific identity. If you consistently think from a state of lack or hesitation, you train your brain to believe that action is dangerous or pointless. Conversely, when you deliberately and repeatedly focus your thoughts on value, abundance, strategy, and inevitability, these thoughts adding into core beliefs. Once a belief is solidified, your brain automatically filters the environment and finds and attracts opportunities that match that belief. Here are the three ways to turn your thoughts into belief. The first one, repeated exposure. Remember, belief is just a thought you've overexposed yourself to until your brain stopped questioning it. So the question isn't how do I believe this? It is how do I overexpose myself to it on purpose instead of leaving it to just chance. That's what repetition really is. It's not affirmation poster fluff, it's deliberate overexposure. I personally set a reminder on my phone to remind me every hour that I am an infinite value creator. I started believing that I am an infinite value creator after I repeatedly exposed myself to that thought of being an infinite value creator. The second way to turn your thoughts into belief is emotional charge. Charging your thoughts with emotion is another way of creating a belief. Thoughts paired with strong emotion usually get prioritized for storage. This is why beliefs formed in intense moments stick harder than neutral ones. If you want a thought to become a belief, attach it to something you genuinely feel, not just something you intellectually agree with. The third way to turn your thoughts into belief is by using actions that confirm it. This is the strongest lever, and here is where things get a little bit sticky. But stay with me now. Remember, I said that the just do it advice doesn't work because it ignores the thoughts and belief they were supposed to act as the foundation for the action. And yet, to even turn your thoughts into belief, you still need to act before you can solidify the belief. This is because the framework is actually a feedback loop. Notice how we didn't jump straight into action to build a belief. We start from the thought first, then we take repeated micro action to build the unwavering belief, and then from the belief, a macro or bigger action rises up. Acting as if something is true generates evidence your brain can later point to. Beliefs are downstream of accumulated proofs, and your behavior is the most persuasive proof you have access to. As soon as I started taking micro actions as the infinite value creator, I started creating infinite value. And this evidence makes me believe that I am actually an infinite value creator. And now that I 100% believe that I am an infinite value creator, almost everything I do, I unconsciously find ways to create infinite value because my core beliefs demand so. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. Buddha. These are the three ways to turn your thoughts into belief. Now let's proceed on to the next thing in the framework we were talking about earlier. The next is beliefs, and how beliefs turn into action. So let's understand what that means now. Belief is actually the bridge where abstract thoughts turns into an identity. Beliefs are the internal operating system that dictates what actions are visible, possible, and natural to you. Believe you can, and you are halfway there. Theodore Roosevelt. Belief acts as a psychological filter that makes some of your behavior automatic. You probably think you act based on reality. You actually act based on what you already believe. When a thought becomes a core belief, it changes your self-concept. If you believe you are someone who creates immense value and works smartly, highly important actions stop requiring efforts. They become your default behavior. If your underlying belief is deeply rooted in doubt, lack, your brain views important action as dangerous and pointless and triggers procrastination to protect you. Belief eliminates the need for willpower by transforming action from something you are forcing yourself to do into the natural and inevitable expression of who you are. The transition from belief to action relies entirely on certainty. When your beliefs are perfectly calibrated and aligned, your mind will remove all the hesitation, which means no more procrastination. A solidified belief instructs the brain to constantly point out opportunities and pathways needed for you to take actions. You stop scanning for risks and start scanning for pathways to take actions. Because belief has already finalized the outcome as certain in your mind, the physical act of just doing it no longer has any emotional weight attached to it. You don't wait for inspiration, you stepped into inspired action simply to collect the results your identity has already claimed. If people believe in themselves, it's amazing what they can accomplish. Sam Walton. Now to the next on the framework, action. Action is the expression of your true identity through what you do. It is not a tool used to force a result, it is the inevitable output of a refined thought and a solidified belief. Action is the expression of your true identity through what you do. It is not a tool used to force a result, it is the inevitable output of a refined thought and a solidified belief. In a realistic framework of law of attraction, you do not sit still and wait for things to magically appear. Instead, the clarity of your thoughts and the certainty of your beliefs create a powerful psychological drive that makes taking action highly attractive to you. When you are no longer debating your why do it, no longer having conflicting thoughts, and you have unshakable beliefs, action ceases to feel like heavy lifting or brute forcing. You become naturally drawn to high leverage moves because your mind views them as the most logical, satisfying expression of who you are. You don't need to force yourself to act, you are put toward inspired action because your identity demands it. The physical world reacts to clarity, precision, and momentum. When you take action from a state of absolute alignment with the Trinity, the quality of your output shifts fundamentally. Your action becomes clean, detached, and highly effective. You stop projecting desperation and lack, and you start transmitting a powerful signal of certainty. This unshakable posture naturally alters your environment. Opportunities, high value network, and resources become magnetically drawn to you. By taking action without hesitation from aligned thoughts and belief, you actively collapse the distance between your current state and your desires. You don't only chase your goals, you actively start attracting it. Your momentum reconfigures reality until the desired outcomes have no choice but to find you. This is exactly the point where attraction becomes solidified in reality. Again, your thoughts create your beliefs, and your beliefs create your actions. Now that you know you shouldn't ignore the thoughts and belief stage, the Holy Trinity is complete. When you align thoughts, beliefs, and inspired action, you stop the massive friction and finally make the just do it advice work for you instead of just failing you. Now I'm going to end this video by saying just do it. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and comment.